The sword always seems to find a place in the sci-fi genre. From Star Wars to Halo, and even XCOM, they remain a core component of futuristic loadouts. In Titanfall 2, Ronin takes up this role with grace and poise, dancing across the battlefield and leaving deep cuts and death in his wake. Ronin is fast, vicious, and surprisingly durable. However, without constant flanking and switching directions, he will be down swiftly nonetheless. Firstly, let's look at the specifics of what makes Ronin tick, his chassis and his abilities. Ronin is a light chassis titan, sporting 7,500 health, plus 2,500 while doomed. Remember that 1 bar is equivalent to 2,500 health, and an overshield represents 2,500 health regardless of the titan. Ronin has 2 base dash charges, and a fast movement speed that gives him the ability to move across the battlefield very quickly. Ronin also has a melee different to all other titans. His broadsword swing has extended range and strikes much faster than a normal titan punch. But it also affects an area in front of the titan, in addition to dealing 800 damage, while a normal titan punch would do 500 damage. This means Ronin is extremely efficient at striking down packs of infantry and pilots, and will do well in melee against other titans. Moving on now, let's take a look at Ronin's primary weapon, the lead wall shotgun. This is a weapon that fires 8 pellets per shot, with 4 shots in the clip. The fire rate is excellent and will unload all shots in under 2 seconds, while the reload speed is fast enough that Ronin will be shooting again within another 2 seconds. Assuming all of the pellets in the shot land, lead wall will deal 800 damage, or 1,200 critical damage per shot. We have found that the critical modifiers for Titans seems to be a flat 50% damage increase. Although the lead wall doesn't appear to have an alternate fire, by aiming with the left trigger you will significantly reduce the spread of the projectiles, which means more damage and accuracy out to longer ranges. Ronin really does take some hits from Highlander, and a propensity for lightning is one of them. The Arc Blade Ordnance ability is one of these, as it unleashes a wave of destructive energy across the ground. Arcwave deals 1000 damage, and has a cooldown of 10 seconds, and is able to hit multiple targets in a line, bypass most shields, and also slows titans struck by the ability. This slowing is very brief, and the key to using it is to slow an opponent as you shift angle of attack, so they cannot track your movement fast enough to land any shots. The Arc Wave can also be used while Sword Core is active, and has increased damage in this state. Remember, you can store up to 2 Arc Waves with the Thunderstorm Ronin kit. The utility ability Phase Dash is incredibly strong as an evasion or movement tool. The ability is actually a dash, so when activated you will move as if you had just hit the dash button. But in addition, you will be transported into an alternate dimension for the duration of the dash and 1 additional second, with which you can keep your momentum up to seemingly teleport great distances to reposition, confuse opponents, or simply escape. This ability has a cooldown of 12 seconds. However, with the Temporal Anomaly perk, it's reduced to 9 seconds. Be careful not to exit Phase Dash inside an enemy Titan, or you will be instantly destroyed. Sword Block is a unique defensive ability in that it has infinite duration, and never needs to cool down. It also activates very quickly. Using Sword Block slows your movement speed while it's up, however it also reduces all incoming damage by 75%. This is huge, and is one of the reasons why Ronin is not as fragile as his chassis seems. The sword reduces damage from all sources except melee, even attacks from behind, attached fire stars, and walking through smoke or thermite. It should be noted that during Sword Core, the sword will block 90% of damage, making Ronin incredibly difficult to kill during his core if you wish to use it defensively. The Sword Core itself returns to the Lightning Warrior theme and imbues the sword with additional energy. You cannot shoot the lead wall while the core is active, however your melee attacks become even faster, deal 2000 damage each, and your dash charges refill extremely quickly. In addition to the 90% damage reduction with Sword Block, this core greatly enhances the entire trifactor of Ronin's already impressive offensive, defensive, and movement capabilities. The core has a natural duration of 15 seconds, which is usually more than enough. While using the aptly named Highlander perk, Ronin will recover around 10 seconds of core duration upon each Titan kill. This is really significant, enabling someone skilled with the sword core to dance through an entire enemy team, dealing extraordinary damage. Let's continue with a quick discussion of perks, beginning with my recommendations for Titan kit. As usual, Overcore is excellent, as it gives you smoke early on, and you also get closer to your core. The extra dash is also nice, but some people who are very good at dash management will find it a little bit redundant. As for the Ronin kit, ricochet rounds makes you much more effective at killing pilots running away inside buildings, and can allow you to deal some damage as you retreat around corners, but otherwise it doesn't add too much to Ronin's repertoire. Thunderstorm is excellent, as the Arcwave is an important part of successful Ronin play, as it helps outflank slowed opponents. Temporal Anomaly provides 25% faster phase dash recharge, but this probably isn't as valuable as an extra Arcwave. Highlander is great if you love the sword core and can survive going in deep with the broadsword, and phase reflex provides an escape, but can only be used once per life, and even then doesn't really guarantee survival. Ronin, however, is more than the sum of his parts, and true mastery comes from using the components of his kit synergistically to harass and destroy. I said previously that Ronin has a very strong offensive, defensive, and mobility trifactor, but in order to bring them to bear, you have to seamlessly flow from one to the other. Attack as you move and defend as heavy damage strikes home. You need to be hyper aware of your surroundings, because even though your block is very strong, if it is not up at the right time, your 3 bars of health will vanish very quickly. I don't recommend slowly walking towards shooting enemies with the block up, unless you have teammates that can deal damage while you do so. This brings me to the 2 main playstyles that work with Ronin, and I recommend continually switching between both sets of tactics as the need arises. The first tactic makes Ronin into a defensive tank, absorbing huge amounts of fire. This is easy to execute mechanically, but difficult to judge in what context it is appropriate. Basically, Ronin with sword block active effectively has the most health out of any Titan in the game, and can combine this with his small hitbox and maneuverability to survive for a long time against multiple enemy Titans, focusing him down. The sword block also makes him impossible to critical hit, so he can really take a beating before losing even 1 bar. People are scared of Ronin. They know they have to turn and engage him, or he will do too much damage, and he draws aggression due to his preferred range of engagement, which is very close. But with this playstyle, it is ineffective to shoot at him because his defense is so damn high, and when core is active, nigh invincible Highlander style. By acting as a target, the rest of your team is able to bring huge amounts of damage to bear on your opponents, and will almost always damage or destroy them faster than they can bring you down if your block is supplemented by good evasive techniques. When there are no teammates nearby to deal damage for you, or when you just can't trust them to take advantage of your bulwark tactics, switch to this second playstyle, one based on outmaneuvering opponents to deal damage and dodging their retribution. In this playstyle, you may open up by dashing in and unloading a clip of lead wall, then Arcwave so that they cannot keep track of you while you dash to another angle, shoot another clip, and then phase dash through to the other side for a 3rd clip, then maybe repeat with a 2nd Arcwave or an active core. Throughout this process, use sword block to intercept any damage that does come your way that is significant enough to warrant a concern, such as anyone's core ability or a laser shot, etc. Obviously Ronin excels at close range, so take routes around the map that force such engagements. Try to hit flanks, and remember that you are fast enough to poke at one angle and then completely shift out to attack from a different flank, as you see me doing this in a lot of the background footage. Ronin is also an exceptionally good counter to Tone, as you can easily predict and block his rockets, and make him miss shots up close. Things to watch out for are Scorch Titans, as both areas of Thermite and Flame Shield will disrupt your melee and movement tact, and never get caught out in the open by a Legion or a North Star, or even an Ion, as you cannot have both speed and super armor at the same time, so you will lose a lot of health before closing the necessary distance. If you have any questions at all, please ask in the comments. We will always try and respond. And please subscribe if you want to catch more content for Titanfall 2. Until next time, remember that there can be only one.